Swear to God, we were CoupDeLa, man. Like CoupDeLa? We ain't CoupDeLa? No, we are CoupDeLa.
International, national.
They don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
I'm a deadbeat cousin, I hate family reunions. Fuck the church up by drinking at the communion. Smelling free.
Hey, okay. Alright, so hold on. So we're recording right now. You know, what's good, man? How you doing?
Wait, who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you, man. Curtis is not here.
Is he gonna be here?
Man, relax. How you doing, man?
I'm all right.
Nah, Kurt, I don't know. We can call Kurt again, but you know what I'm saying? I called him a couple of times. He might not be up yet. So I was thinking we need to do the first episode over again because the recording, you know, it didn't work out.
What happened?
I mean, I didn't press to end the recording at the end of the recording.
Mm-hmm.
So we have I'm doing that, but I also have a backup right now, and my friend Bruce is here. You know, I'm using his phone to record it. But yeah, Bruce is my cousin Wesley. I showed Bruce your Twitter page, and he just laughed. He was like, "Yeah, it's like a dark-skinned version of you." So at this point, it's pretty funny. So everybody can say we denied it to a certain extent, but you know, I'm not mad about it, man. He was the cousin I looked up to the most. You know what I'm saying? But this Bruce right here.
What's going on?
Chilling, man. I'm actually being a nigga right now. I need some chicken, but I'm good.
Yeah. I just had some fries and a biscuit from a local chicken place in Columbia. But we can still talk about the Curtis thing. Like, I can explain it to you. I think that would be beneficial anyway. But I just want to ask you, too, did you see that the Warriors lost? I'm starting to feel like I'm right at the end of the day, and that LeBron, you know, I think the Cavs are really, you know, the true team. I think that was just kind of the way things were.
No, did you watch that game? Did you
saw last night too? Because I was saying that to you too. Bruce was watching the game, and then I left, but they still won. But what did you say, Wes?
Yeah. Did you watch the game? First off, they played about as flat as any team can play. Like, there were so many unforced turnovers that were a byproduct of how poorly they played, as opposed to anything that Boston did. Second off, Boston got away with so much shit. So there was like a couple times where Kelly Olynyk traveled, Isaiah Thomas carried the ball, like it was so bad, and they still barely won. Like, I'm not worried about them one bit. They'll win 73, 74 games. They'll sweep their way to the Western Conference Finals, and then after that, it'll probably be 6-game series to win the West and the Finals. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine, but I'm just saying, man, it's the Cavs and the Spurs, honestly. But
if Kyrie weren't from New Jersey, you wouldn't think this.
I think, what's their record? They can lose one more game and still break the record, right?
Yeah.
So that's 7 losses.
They've got 8 now.
Oh, okay, yeah. Alright. But no, honestly, I mean, I definitely root for Kyrie, you know, in general. Not even just because of New Jersey, but like he went to the little prep school in Montclair. So I've known about him, and I've always been like, surprised. Like every level he keeps rising to, I'm like, damn, Kyrie is that nice. It just keeps happening. Like Duke, you know, the first pick. Then he's like All-Star Game MVP. I'm like, oh shit, he's really. And then, you know, I think he's really the truth, man. And LeBron has been the truth. I think people really don't like LeBron for some reason. But, you know, we'll see. But
Kyrie Irving is a more talented version of Dexter Strickland.
Dexter Strickland, damn. What? Yeah,
That's crazy, bro.
But I also support Dexter Strickland, though. Hold on.
That's so great.
He went to UNC. Yo, he's a guard. He went to UNC. He's from Jersey, but he was on this internet forum and was, he seemed cool, man. I fucked with him. He's on this hip hop internet forum I used to go on and get music and news off of and talk on and shit. I liked him, man. I thought he was gonna go somewhere, but he still might. You know what he's doing?
No clue. Probably nothing. He's not that good. If you went to North Carolina, if you went to North Carolina in the last 10 years, other than Danny Green, you're not that good. And that's coming from a North Carolina fan. That means that you weren't good enough to go somewhere else and be better.
But he was really good, especially in college. Like he was pretty good in college. He just isn't NBA necessarily. But shit.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. So you do have the content from the last conversation, correct?
And I don't. So basically, I fucked up. This is something, you see me. You remember when I tried to cook the hot dogs on the stove and shit? It was
in a plastic bowl. In a plastic bowl.
I thought I had it under control, and I didn't. You put the bowl on fire?
I was asleep, so I've only heard about this secondhand. But
what
yeah, I was asleep, so I only heard about this secondhand. My brother was the responsible one. And he was like, yeah, go make your own food. And then Calvin and I do remember this. They were blue plastic bowls from like Target or Kmart or something. And he just put them on the stove and was cooking hot dogs.
So yeah, you gotta watch your kids. I feel like y'all were left responsible for me. I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, man, so we could even go back, like, I think we talked about in the first one, like, what podcast you listen to. You said you like, what's like your top three? Because we talked a lot about podcasts, but just real quickly, like, who do you listen to? Who do you, you know what I'm saying, consistently listen to?
My top three podcasts, if I got to limit it to three, I'd spend the most time with. I listen to the Dan Le Batard Show daily, the Right Time with Romani Jones daily, and then probably the SI Media podcast. And actually, this is I wanted to ask you about this because I listened to the most recent episode I listened to. I'm about 17 or 18 episodes behind on that. It's Sage Steele, and she was talking about how. She considers herself biracial or of mixed race, and how when she used to go on The View, Barbara Walters and a couple of the other panelists took it as an affront that she called herself biracial or multiracial or something, and not just black. And a lot of people, the way people have thought about race for the longest is. And I don't disagree with it either, but I also found myself thinking about it a little differently after Sage Steele made her point was, she's like, I'm not just black, I'm also white, and that informs who I am as a person and me in my culture and everything. And I'm like, well, in the eyes of the world, everyone sees you as just black. So, like, there's nothing you can do about that. But at the same time, like, I don't want to disrespect someone for how they self-identify or what they see themselves as. So, I mean, where do you stand on that? Because, like, I remember having a conversation with Mariah about this, where it's Mariah's sister, where, when she was applying for colleges, I was like, Mariah, did you check the Jewish box or the fact that or let people know that you're biracial? And she's like, no, honestly, blah, blah, blah. And I don't mean it like to belittle what she was saying, because she made good points, but I'm also like, well, you may as well. There's no reason not to. So, like, it's one of those things where, Mariah chose the opposite. She just went with just black instead of, black and Jewish. So
I don't know if she had said this, but I know our mom told both of us, like, consistently to put, whenever we filled out forms, to put black for a couple of reasons. She said, just in terms of how resources are distributed on, like, census and stuff like that, just say that, you know what I'm saying? Just say that. And then also, when applying to schools, she said, you have just better chance of getting certain scholarships. Maybe not all scholarships, but certain ones. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if Mariah said that, but in general, though, I mean, you should talk to my mom about that point. My thing with race is like, because like our race, like all three of us, me, her, and my mom, like when we're in different spaces, like people treat us differently based on it. You know what I'm saying? So because we can kind of see that, like, I don't even take it personally. Like I just more look at it. I use it to kind of like just measure people, like not even measure them, but just, you know, see how far I would like to go with them. You know what I mean? Just in the sense of like how big of a deal certain things are, or certain buttons they try to push, because everyone does have those questions, but like how do you identify almost like what side are you on? But the way that somebody brings it up is more, you know, I just like that as kind of a red flag. So I just kind of look at it like that. Like I don't really think about it too emotionally, because I don't know, just you really can't. Like that's just like anything. Like I feel like if you're a fat person, like you can't, like there's fat jokes. Or if you're anybody, you know what I'm saying? If you're anybody who is like made to feel different, like you can't trip about it. Yeah, you can't really trip about it because everybody's different somewhere or like at different times. So I look at it as an advantage a little bit, and I just try to use it as an advantage. I think my mom, that's why I used to talk to my mom, because she's like the best with it. I don't even understand how, but just in terms of like, you know, that's what her book is about, her new one anyway. It's just about how people just define themselves and all that shit.
Does she have a title for that book?
Yeah, she wants to call it Swirl Girl. She's biracial. She's like, her mom is Jewish, you know what I'm saying? And her dad was like, her brother emphasizes the fact that her dad was Native American and black. But my mom more says he's black, like Native American. We like, in general, like he was treated as a black man, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, but I always thought of her as like, it's funny seeing Drake being like a pop culture figure now, because I feel like my mom is like Drake a little bit. And then, just in terms of like what, you know what I mean, like culturally, like the feelings, you know what I'm saying? Or the weirdness about it, where it's like people fuck with Drake, but like people are also like, he's an interesting character to people. Like my mom is like that, and she's always had that effect on people. But yeah, fuck with my mom's book, Teresa Stovall. You know, she was on Oprah in the 90s, so you know she could really write books and shit, etc.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm glad I asked, because like I think I've made a lot of friends over the past 15 or so years from having that perspective of like, you know, hey, I don't understand this. Let me ask you how you feel about it, rather than making that leap. And I think a lot of people make a leap and do exactly what really was off-putting to Sage Steele, in that she's just like, you know, I see where you're coming from, but this is not how I identify, and please try to understand my side of things and not the way that people traditionally think about it. But it was kind of weird though, because like usually, you know, I think a lot of that has to do with where people are from and where they come from. Like she was saying, she was from a military family, and grew up in a different environment that was a lot more accepting, and it made me think a lot of my own upbringing. But then, you know, there's the southern part of the upbringing too, where it's like, it doesn't matter how light you are, and you know, our family is half of them is very light skinned, and you know, some of them could have passed had they not been born in like Arkansas, where the sun beat down on them and tanned their skin. And those people look at it very differently. They're like, look, one drop, that's all you take, and that makes you one way. And then, you know, comparing it with President Obama, who is half white or biracial, and he's like, but I'm black. And he looks at it differently. Just because he identifies that way or looks at it that way is doesn't mean that's how everyone of similar breakdown should look at things. So it was just interesting, and that's why I really like that Sports Illustrated podcast, because half the time it really is just like people talking about how they go through sports and what they do. But then a lot of times they'll delve into deeper topics and break it down on another level. It's also informed me as to why I don't want to ever cover sports, because I'd hate to be in the position that some of these people are, where they love sports, they enjoy sports, and then they can't really take it for what it is because it's a job, you know. So.
Well, I told you that like last time, and I was talking to Bruce about the same thing in terms of music with me. Like, because I cover music, I consume music differently almost. Like, I definitely look at it it's no longer from a fan perspective, and I almost don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it the same way I did when I fell in love with it, and it's because it became work. Like, it no longer is, you know. And I still love music and listen to it, but it's not like a love of mine almost. So if you really want to keep sports as your thing, which I think you should, it might be better to try to find a lane that's not super focused on it. But, you know, it's however you feel too. You go the other way and just do what you're really obsessed with and just try to do it really well. Because if you burn out with that, you could always just change lanes and do something else. Like Sage Steele, you know, I love Sage Steele. I would love to work with her on a number of things. I think she has a lot of potential, you know. So, just in general, I don't think you're really trapped by what you get in. You know, how you get into the door. It's about, like, how you can just maneuver after that.
Yeah, so, that's true.
Stay still with this podcast and tag her and all that.
Who?
Sage Steele.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, I thought I heard something totally different.
But I like Carrie Champion, and I like Josina, and I like it's a new girl, and I only see her at work because I don't have TV, but I don't know her name right now. But there's a lot of talented women on ESPN.
No, I don't watch, and see, that's another thing. Like, so I don't watch SportsCenter very much. Like, I watch NBA Countdown occasionally if it's like I got nothing else to do and I don't mind watching commercials, because I hate watching commercials, mostly because ads, like ESPN, I don't watch much TV in general, so ESPN, if I'm stuck watching it, I see the same 15 commercials the entire time I'm watching it, with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions. So it's very difficult for me to watch what they do, and especially SportsCenter, because a lot of, like, they don't do any highlights anymore. And for me, like, the fact that I don't get to watch games, I want to see highlights, but all it is analysis, and I don't care about most of the stuff that they're saying because it's so watered down. Like, if you watch, so the TV that I do watch every day is Around the Horn, Pardon the Interruption, and Highly Questionable. Yeah. And essentially, all 3 of those shows do the exact same thing. So by the time I've watched all 3 of those shows, I don't need to watch Skip Bayless do a SportsCenter hit, or Mike Greenberg do a SportsCenter hit, or Jay Billis do a SportsCenter hit. Like, the only one that actually does end up of any value is if Barry Melrose does a SportsCenter hit, because hockey's, like, kind of obscure now. But otherwise, like, I don't need to watch that stuff because I've seen what I need to see on those other shows.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need ESPN. Like, I was thinking that the other day, like, it would be better if the leagues just distributed just directly to fans, because ESPN is really just opinions, and they're just kind of, you only need one per day if you even want that. Like, if you want to watch one show, I think you would either pick, like I love Highly Questionable, but once I watch that, I don't need to see Around the Horn, and I might watch Pardon the Interruption, maybe. But my dad said the same thing. He would watch Highly Questionable above all those.
Oh, yeah, because it's the only one that's different. Like, I like Around the Horn because they're getting better voices. Like, Pablo Torre is hilarious, and I like the fact that he sticks to his analytical arguments no matter what. And it's not this. It's like Woody Page has become a sideshow, and like Bill Plaschke is like super. You can expect him to stay on message all the time, and it's kind of boring. But they've gotten rid of, they don't have as much of the same old columnists. And it's like with Pardon the Interruption, like, I couldn't care less what they say half the time because Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon's pretty much mailed it in, like, to me. Like, he doesn't ever say anything that's interesting anymore. And Tony Kornheiser is funny, but he's also kind of so detached that he ends up making a lot of the same references, and it's just like, eh. So yeah, highly questionable. That's my show. I watch that a couple weeks ago. They got moved from ESPN News, and I spent like 3 hours trying to figure out a way to watch it, because that's how much I like the show. And ultimately, like, no one recorded the show on ESPN, and they didn't show it again. And I was still like trying to find it because it's that show.
Yeah, I would watch highly questionable of all of them, but even that, at this point, I don't even want analysis that much. I would just want highlights. Like, I just want the NBA to put everything on Vine, everything on Instagram, or, you know what I'm saying? Just put their product out just as it's happening, and just let people. Because I feel like whatever contracts, like, I know they have the contracts with ESPN to play the games, but they could put games online. Like, I don't know. I just feel like this shit is kind of ESPN is slowly not making sense to me. Like, I don't really feel the need to watch ESPN if I have the internet. You know what I mean?
Well, they do a good job of the NBA especially does a good job of putting stuff on YouTube. But I guess for me, like, I try not to go. It's not that I try. Like, just YouTube. I don't know. I guess it's being old. Like, YouTube is still something that is. I feel like it's just too scattershotted. Like, there's not.
I mean, YouTube is like 10 years old.
No, I know that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, in it being 10 years old, like, it's still not refined enough to get the things that I want to me.
Like movies and like highlights and shit.
Yeah. Well, no. Like, if what's the best way to describe it? Facebook is probably the best about showing me the stuff that I want. And its algorithms are pretty much perfected to the point that, like, if somebody has a baby or someone gets engaged, or if, like, there's major life news within the circles of people that I care about, like, it's there, and I don't have to think. Well, I know, and I don't run from that.
You're very old. I would say Snapchat.
No, Snapchat's awful. It's so empty.
How old are you?
31 today. It's so empty. So empty.
Happy birthday, bro. Yo, I really didn't know it was your birthday, bro.
No, it's cool. I don't do anything. I'm old and curmudgeonly. I don't celebrate or really like the whole birthday thing.
Hey, man, you need to go to the strip club. You took me to my first strip club. I know I shouldn't have said that. I've already cussed a lot, bro. Like, at this point, like, anybody there, whatever. I can't really help but be honest most of the time. That's why I stay out of trouble. But anyway,
it's so funny because, like, whenever I try to get people to, like, so I recognize the strip clubs are morally bankrupt and totally empty, but they are also fun to go to, like, just as a thing.
No, that one we went to was trash, though. That one was terrible.
Oh, no. But that's the thing. Sometimes you kind of need the trash strip club in order to make your life more enjoyable. Like, and we might not want to broadcast this and put this on the out there in the universe.
I'm gonna cut this around. I'm gonna cut this up, you know.
but
at the end of the day, what's wrong with going to a strip club? I think at this point, you know.
Nothing. No.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm done something, I don't really feel the need where, like, we can't speak about it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's one of those things where the way people digest things is the problem. So, like, I wouldn't want this to come in between anybody's money at that point. Like, I don't really care, but I don't want this to interfere with your money or my money or, you know, someone who's associated with us money.
First, when we were first talking about this, I was thinking about not really promoting it, you know, with, like, public, you know what I'm saying, with the actual names on it. But at the same time, we can just edit around and just fill it out. Like, I'm not in a rush to get this out. But, so, are you really not going to do anything for your birthday? Like, you're not going to, like, drink anything? Wesley. That's all my fault. My cousin got shook because I started talking about the strip club, so he hung up.
Yeah, tight like love.
Yo, stop snitching. I swear I'm not.
Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Did you hit mute? Alright, so we really got to talk about this, man. We got to talk about the D'Angelo Russell situation. This is generational. But I feel like at the same time, you know, I feel like what he did was a problem, but...
Does he think he wants famous right now? Is he still active?
I don't know.
No, this ain't that bad yet.
Wait, what? What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
So, Bruce is asking who his girl is. Like,
His girl?
yeah.
He might just be a lame dude. I don't know.
Wait, whose girl? What?
All right, what I was saying was, speaking of which, you know, I thought you hung up, you know, because I started thinking about the strip club. So I was saying, like, jokingly, like, D'Angelo, you know, I'm not D'Angelo Russell. But,
Oh.
but what I was saying, also, how do you feel, you know, just about this situation in general? You know, it's definitely a generational issue. Like, I wonder what Kobe had to say about it, because Kobe snitched himself, and he snitched the police, you know. Like, that was kind of crazy in documents.
Here's the thing that, like, I think everyone has always given Kobe way too much hell for, that he probably didn't even think about. Like, I don't think Kobe thought he was snitching. I think Kobe was just, like, talking, like, because this has to go a lot to do with my job. So, like, I sit through court hearings and watch people confess, quote unquote, or be interviewed with police after they've been accused of murder or something like that. And a lot of times, like, you forget that you're talking to police. Like, they'll jump in, they'll say, look here, like, we're recording this, but, you know, we don't think you did this, and we're just looking at this in a way just to get more information. We're trying to get your side of the story.
Well, that's why period.
Oh no, I get that. But if you're trusting, or if you've never been in a circumstance where you've had to think about having police around, like, I see why people make that mistake and say stuff and don't think, like, oh, this is going to get out, or this is going to get.
Did you see damn, my bad for cutting you off, and then I just forgot what I was going to say. But there was just in general, that principle of, like, you know, just kind of knowing not to say anything. Like, oh, the Central Park 5, that documentary about the 5 kids who were, like, 15 years old. And basically, I think it's on Netflix. But they basically, you know, got railroaded, like, 15. They were just in the park when a lady got raped. And she got raped by, like, hella people. They just got these 5. Of all the people they interviewed, you know, they were able to put a story together around these 5 and just weave some bullshit. And really fucked up all their lives and shit. But that's an important thing. Like, you know, really don't give information. Like, get a lawyer. I want to watch this OJ thing. I don't have cable. I'm trying to watch this OJ shit. But
it's interesting. I want to see how that one turns out, and then I want to see ESPN is doing, like, an 8-hour documentary on the OJ Simpson thing, and it's supposed to be just like crazy groundbreaking.
Well, that's the stuff I love, man. Like, seeing, like, all right, so I don't love it, but it's like, that was really the most interesting thing in the world to me, is, like, racial conflict, because I feel like I don't know, it's very weird for me to watch it. Like, the closest example, the best thing I've heard, like, that explains it was, like, J. Cole was like, he feels like he's, like, up, like, in a cloud somewhere, and he's kind of looking down at black people and white people fighting, and, like, wishing he could, like, intervene and, like, explain both sides. He's like, damn, like, they just don't, I wish they could both see, you know what I'm saying, what is on this side. But at the same time, like, I don't think, it's just funny, it's funny to see conflict today and just really realize, like, I don't know if that is truly what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if racial conflicts will be eliminated. if they'll either be eliminated or they could like eliminate us. Like I feel like people really like this is something people die over. You know what I'm saying? But we'll
I don't
die over or we'll fight over like this. It's always something.
Yeah, I don't think that it'll eliminate either side, but I also think it won't. I don't think it'll ever be resolved because at the end of the day, it always is people not listening to each other and not like giving people the benefit of the doubt. So like one of the main reasons why I really like Dan Le Batard is like he's white, but he's Cuban, and so like in being a white Cuban, like he's always understanding like that. Like, he gets the minority side to a point that is way further than most people, and sometimes, like, on the level of a minority, and then other times, like, he obviously gets the majority perspective, because that's how you're going to, that's the only way you're ever going to be able to make it as a colonist for as long as he has. And I think, you know, you see when you talk to people and go across the country, like, that people just don't get it. They're talking through each other. So one side hears race as the exclusive reason for some of the things that are happening, and then the other side hears race as part of the reason why it's happening, or maybe a factor in all of it. So like, you know, like somebody will say, well, you know, and this is where it gets interesting, is somebody will hear the subtext in the conversation, and depending on who's hearing the subtext, that's the most important thing in the conversation. If it's about race, well, hey, look, there's other things that are at play here. But if it's about like guns or something, well, yeah, that subtext is the only thing that matters. And Obama and the liberals are out here to steal all of our guns. So I just think it's interesting because a lot of people, even though people might not be hearing the same messages, I think everyone hears things in a way that takes into account all the parts of a narrative that matter, whether it's overt, covert, subtext, whatever.
You feel like that? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, back to the main point of what we were talking about. Like, I think that Kobe probably didn't really think about what he was doing, and I don't think it was snitching. Like, man, I'm like, don't take me down without taking down Shaq. I don't think.
Oh no, that's not. Yeah, it wasn't, and that technically, you know, isn't, you know.
But that's the way most people perceive it, though.
But he was incriminating him publicly, which is pretty much what D'Angelo did. Like, it's not like he didn't videotape Swaggy cheating, but he did some, like, he basically, I don't know, there's no even comparison for it, because we didn't have social media, you know what I'm saying, in the past. Well, I don't even know how to explain that when I was younger. It's like dry snitching, but you straight documented it. It's like the shit in Menace to Society, like the fact that he passed the tape around, the fact that he took the security camera footage and was like showing it to everybody. It's that type of shit.
But I think those are two different things. I think Kobe saying like, hey, look, this is what happened. It's like, it's the same. I don't think it's, I never.
Oh, no. I'm saying D'Angelo's is like that. Kobe's is just weird. Kobe's is on some like kind of schoolyard snitcher type shit. Like, why would you even say that? Just period. Like, why are you worried about, you know what I'm saying?
Because I think Kobe is looking at it the same way that anybody with a half a brain looks at it. It's like, well, like, of course this is happening, so why in the world are you coming after me for this? Like, and I felt where he was coming from the whole time, because it's like, anybody, like, I'm not saying every athlete cheats. I'm not going to be that person that makes that stand. Like, but I'm also not going to say, like, we should kill this one guy for, like, doing the same thing that everyone else does, or has the same, like, or everyone else at least is in the position to do.
I feel like you shouldn't do that, though. I feel like people shouldn't. You can't judge people, but I feel like that's something we shouldn't do. Like, I hope Kobe doesn't do that anymore, you know. I'm sure everyone might have that. That might cross, you know what I'm saying, cross your mind, but, like, I feel like if you're caught up in any situation, you shouldn't bring someone else's, you know, sins up or transgressions up to, like, you know, to try to take.
Wait, time out. Is your phone on vibrate? Because I'm hearing like a duck call every 12 seconds.
My bad, man. you know.
Yeah, turn that off.
I let people know I'm popular, you know.
I'm snitching on your phone and the vibrations. You don't hear my phone giving any notifications or anything.
Oh man, shut up. You sound 33.
That's fine. I'll sound as old as I want to. But no, I get your point. I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying, hey, everybody should, like Kobe was right. But I just don't think I don't think his input on this situation has really any validity, because it's just, to me, they're two totally different circumstances. Especially
what about Kyrie? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, especially when, because there's no reason for, the way I see it is, if I'm having a conversation and I'm talking about something and I don't think that conversation is going to get out, or I don't think what I'm saying is relevant to any larger principle or any larger point, I might say something like that, thinking this isn't going anywhere, this has no confidence. There is no inexplicable reason. There's no explicable reason for D'Angelo Russell being out here taping that and trying to get information out of Nick Young, other than I don't know. There's no reason for him to do that. So as much as I feel bad that he's getting killed for that, there's no reason for him to be out here doing this.
It makes me feel, I already fuck with Nick Young. You know, I've heard some funny stories about Nick Young, you know, and then he's funny, just how he acts in public. You know, for some reason, you know, the Nick Youngs, the Chris Browns, people who wild out in public, I appreciate it. It makes me laugh for the most part. So, when they do something like yesterday or a couple of days ago, Nick Young was some girl made fun of his spelling. You know what I'm saying? His spelling on Twitter. Did you see that? His grammar, his spelling, and all types of
No,
stuff?
I don't pay it. Nick Young is older than me, so Nick Young needs to get his life together.
Oh, both 31, I think. I mean, he's about to get married, bro. But anyway, no, just this girl was made fun of his spelling and shit, and she was like, I could do your homework for you, or no, I could be your PR manager or whatever if you need it. She was making fun of him, and he was like, yeah, you look like the type that did a lot of homework. You know what I'm saying? For people, I forget exactly how he said it, but it was just the type of shit where it was man, people, I don't know. I've always liked that. I've always appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? So I support Nick in this situation. I feel like in the Kyrie situation, I support Kyrie. You know, he handled it, you know, gentlemanly, New Jersey, you know, G. Just kind of address the situation, explain that it wasn't that serious, because it wasn't, and then moved on. But I feel like that's why they're going to win the championship. I feel like that's just another level of focus.
Yeah, that's not happening. But yeah. I have no idea. I legitimately don't know what in the world is going on with Kyrie Irving and what any of that had to do with anything. And I honestly don't want to know, because from what I do know, it seems okay, Kyrie Irving broke up with this girl, or this girl broke up with Kyrie Irving, and then some rapper named Party Next Door, and I don't know. I will show my age on this, and I have no.
I really know Party. Bruce put me on Party Next Door shit. The weekend before this shit happened, he put me on Kehlani Freestyle, which was about her. It was about breaking up with her. But yes, I mean, he's nice. He wrote work for Rihanna. He's definitely nice.
I mean, I don't, whatever. But I guess my thing is, if he was, let's put it like this. I don't have, it's part of the reason why I don't really have much time for Drake or any of these new generation rappers, singers, and anything. There is a certain code that you should live by. And if you're going to say, D'Angelo Russell is wrong in this respect, if you can't really rock with someone like Party Next Door, Drake, or people like that, because they are out here doing the dirtiest of macking and have no qualms about it. So you can't, in one respect, say oh yeah, this is cool or this is okay, and in another breath say the exact opposite. You know, I just don't think that's okay.
I mean, I don't know how you brought Drake into it. Drake, on a big level, I feel you, because Drake is hilarious, because I feel like he's selling this simp persona, but I just feel like he's ruthless, you know what I'm saying, on every single one of these hoes, and will be until the day he dies, but he just keeps selling the simp persona. So if that's what you're talking about, that's funny, but nah, I feel like Party Next Door was weird for that. I feel like D'Angelo was weird for that. But I feel like also,
But that's something Drake would do. Both of those things are something Drake would do.
I think Drake wouldn't do no shit like that because Drake wouldn't care about Kehlani. Period. Like, Drake would have, smashed Kehlani and moved on.
Like, I think Drake fucks for me again, but...
Yeah, Drake is really, does not give a fuck. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, if Rihanna gave him play like that, and then she shut him down, and then came back or went back, no, he would be the first person to do that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the image he sells. But if you watch Drake's moves, it's been a good. I think he came out in 2009. It's been 7 years of Drake acting like this. You know what I'm saying? He's not he's singing these songs. That's how he gets those emotions out. That's how he gets his simple emotions out. And I feel like in general, he's about his money. And I don't know. He's clearly about his money and kind of cold-hearted with how he does shit. So I don't know, man. But if that's what you're talking about, I feel you. As far as new generations, Drake is closer to your generation than mine, I think. Drake's 3 years younger than you, and I am 5 years younger than Drake, 4 years younger than Drake, I think.
But I guess my point is Drake doesn't I don't identify with my generation is what I'm saying. So I identify more with people older than me. So I wouldn't be doing any of the things that it would my thing is I wouldn't be out in public complaining and crying or in private writing songs and crying and complaining and then out in public being yeah, but man, bump these girls. I can't, whatever. I just wouldn't do that. It's a huh?
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
Not just to say what you do in private is what you is how that's how you should portray yourself in public as well. And Drake does the opposite of that because Drake is millennial, and that's what the millennials do.
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a millennial, but I'm also an old soul, and I feel like I respect Drake on the moves Drake makes. Certain people, and it's the people who stuck around kind of through the millennial generation. Kendrick and Drake definitely use their influence well. I think are at the end of the day positive influences, and aren't doing bullshit. But they might be the source of, since Drake is putting The Weeknd and Party Next Door on, you can claim him responsible for them on a level, but nah, he's more just sharing a platform. It's I think Chris Brown is a positive influence on a lot of on a lot of levels. You know what I'm saying? On levels people don't give him credit for. But that's just because of how, he chooses to act, which works for him though. But anybody who has that type of influence, they also are touching people in positive ways, It's just even just by existing, like Jay said, people get offended by that, but that shit is really true. People just appreciate certain people.
Can we take a second and mention that you have been and may still be on Chris Brown's payroll? Because I feel like the only person. No. No. What positive influence is Chris Brown giving to anybody?
So, all right. I'll explain to you first how I even started. First of all, I wouldn't stay on his payroll. I was a contracted, killer. I was not, somebody reporting to him or anything like that. I was just running a property for him. But
yeah,
basically.
But that's like saying that's the plausible deniability the United States government says when it's well, we didn't sell weapons to Iraq.
All right, listen, man. This is the type of shit I can't speak. You're talking about speaking publicly about strip clubs. I'm not really trying to speak publicly about Chris Brown, only because on multiple occasions he's referred to himself as the devil. I ain't even trying to fuck with nobody who does that. So, all due respect to Breezy. I don't know. I don't want no problems, G. But no, I'm just playing. But no, honestly, I feel like Chris Brown is just like Kanye, just like Kim Kardashian, any of these people. Like, you know, all of us are assholes or somewhat degenerates to a certain degree. But if everyone knows who you are and can kind of focus on your faults, you know, if you watch the periods of time that between when Chris Brown fucked up, like, first of all, he's on social media. Like, that's not a serious thing to millennials. You know, he's just looking at it like he doesn't care about people or people's feelings. So why? Like I think most healthy people should, you know. But it's just a little, you know, Breezy's a positive influence. Just to go to the point of just, you know, he takes his image, and a lot like Michael Jackson, a lot like even Beyonce, you know, even though he fucked it up and has fucked it up with certain actions in corporate America, you know, he still has positive things that he does. You know, he still works with kids and does charity stuff. And people mock that, you know, that all celebrities do that, but at the end, on a certain level, that's all you could do. Like, and then the other things he tries to do is really just be himself, because that's what people love. And at the end of the day, you can't really try to do more than that. So when I first started doing it, I just wanted to go to Atlanta and just work and try to make movies. But it just kind of, you know, my boss mentioned it, like, yeah, they wanted me to do this, but he was basically like, yeah, I'm kind of old, I don't know about this, and I'm about to have. He had other shit he was doing, you know, and suggested that they talk to me, and I talked to them, and that's something they asked me. They were like, how you feel about Chris and, like, his issues in the media? I was like, I don't really care. Like, I never really paid attention to him beyond, like, certain songs that you might play with, like, a woman, you know, and then certain shit, like, yeah, like, at the club, like, Chris Brown consistently puts out good music. That's kind of how I thought about it, but I didn't really pay attention to him or judge him as a person. So that's kind of what I said to them quickly, but I was like, at the same time, like, yeah, I think you could, you know, relax a little bit. And throughout the time, I would send them emails. I would like to know how he feels, you know what I'm saying, about how I did certain things, but he never replied to certain shit I would send them, and just being like, yo, bro, like, you have this platform, like, you have this influence, just chill out a little bit, you know, do this. But what I'm happy to see is that I've seen steps, you know, I've seen improvements in what he's been doing. And I did some weird shit with how I handled that job, but he, you know, he gave me free reign to do it, you know. They ain't fired me. Like, we just kind of mutually, like, I stopped doing it. I let them know why, and then we mutually terminated the contract. Like, I have none but positive feelings towards Chris. And when I see him do shit, I usually either laugh about it or I'll be like, damn, bro, like, you know, wish you would, you know, do better type shit. But it's all positive feelings about him. And I don't really understand people's negative feelings towards, you know, him, Kanye, anybody who's famous. Just I hear a lot of the people you hear negativity for, you know what I'm saying? Even like a Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump is an asshole, and, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody we should fight publicly with our word. But, like, people like him, like, he's just kind of a loser, you know, who has power and is misusing power. So, like, the reason he's like this is because he got bullied. Like, he doesn't need to be, like, he really needs to be shut down, and he's going to lose. So now it's just like, we just need to move forward. Like, let him be him. Like, let him be an asshole. Like, he is entertaining. Like, let him be in his corner, you know what I'm saying, like other racist people, and he can work with white people. But it's not really something to get mad about or judge people about.
But it is. That's because that's the
danger.
So, man. No, that's the danger.
I think it's to fight. Like, you can't. That's the thing. You can do what you can do. So, for instance, with Chris Brown, if I saw something he might do and thought about the influence of it and maybe been worried about being associated with him, I would always think of just how can I positively, you know, how can we turn this into a positive type shit? Like, basically, if, you know, this platform, you know, you got this blog that's not really doing anything, you know, how can you turn this into a platform for artists? Because basically with Chris, like, he's now an independent artist. Like, he got kicked out of corporate America, like, because of the Rihanna stuff. Like, he really can't make money with white people in America for the rest of his life. So now the way he's going to survive, he can still do shit, though, just off the, you know what I'm saying, the fact that he's talented and great at what he does. So he just got to get money like an independent artist. And he's got to tour, sell things directly to his fans, do all the stuff he's been doing and kind of move like a young boss and a young independent or a young entrepreneur. So I admired that about him too, and I was like, you know, this site should encourage that and try to give a platform to the young people who are trying to do that. So while I was doing it, I felt like I didn't get enough support, but that was me, you know, being mature. Like, looking back, like, I think I could have done a lot of things. I could have gone harder, but I went as hard as I knew to go and could go, you know. So I'm real happy with it now, looking back. Like, certain people I've seen, like, where they've gone and how, like, far they've gone with shit. And then even if a girl, like, we hired a lot of people, like, a lot of interns, you know, who I keep in touch with and are doing a lot of stuff. But even there's a girl in there's a young lady in Australia named Rachel. Shout out to Rachel, who she started doing an Instagram page. Like, we made pages on different platforms, like, to see what really stuck. And the only one that did was Instagram. You know, I think because Chris is an artist, so you know, this young lady from Australia would post like consistently. I just let her control the Instagram basically, and she would just consistently like post art. And now it's up to like, you know, 12,000 followers. Like, I know Chris interacts with it, and they kind of control the property and appreciate it. So, looking at the site, looking at stuff like that, I think it, you know, is positive. But I also, you know, I think there's more that could be done, and that's what I would like to do. So yeah, Breezy, you know, hope you good, bro. Stay you know what I'm saying? Stay black. Shit, don't fucking trip. But yeah, man, if you need help with anything, you know, let me know. Wesley too. Wesley's everybody really. You know, Wesley Robinson is a very talented journalist. You know, he's verified on Twitter. I'm not, which I think is really funny because I worked for Chris Brown for 2 years. I can't say, we got to edit that out. I ain't work for Chris Brown, you know. I had a contract with Chris Brown. I work for God and Teresa Stovall and Calvin Stovall. It's like, nah. But anyway, I just think, you know, we should also talk about what you're doing right now, because I don't really know. I don't get how, you know, you were in college for hella long, you know, everybody was joking like, yeah, when is Wesley going to graduate? And then now you're verified on Twitter, and I couldn't get verified with the Mechanical Dummy account that had 100,000 followers, and we tried for 2 months. That might just be Chris Brown hate. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, let me say one thing. The thing that you mentioned about Kanye, Donald Trump, Chris Brown, all of those people is influence. And it is about what's important is what you do with your influence. So it might not be wrong that they wield their influence a certain way, but it's wrong that they influence people to think certain things. So, like, let's say someone is a fan of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump espouses the belief that we need to get all Muslims out of this country. That might be entertaining, that might be great for our jobs, that might be great for the media, but it's bad for people who legitimately believe that and have their thoughts and beliefs furthered and changed by that. So, like,
I disagree. Okay, go ahead, though.
No, because influence is the type of thing that changes people's minds, that makes them do better, that makes them think outside of themselves. And it's like the influence of Martin Luther King, or the influence of John F. Kennedy, or the influence of, you know, Susan B. Anthony made this country better, made things better. The influence of U2 makes people listen to music and give to causes. And even though U2's not that good, like, it makes a difference.
Jay-Z, I think, also does. But with anything, any of those people you named, I feel like you brought them up to almost compare them to their opposite, you know. And I think we shouldn't compare. That's even like with the race thing. I think we really shouldn't compare, because, like, you have to have a negative to even understand the positive. So even if it's Martin and Malcolm, like, you know, the way white people choose to disparage, like, Malcolm and his impact, the Black Panthers also, but, you know, Malcolm especially, you know, he really was equally as important as Martin. Maybe not in ways that ultimately won, but that just happens from generation to generation. Like, different things are needed at different times. Like, Jay-Z and Barack Obama and you know, the people who are extremely influential now and are doing the right things, you know, apparently, with that influence, I mean, we can't really judge them either. Like, we really don't know. Like, all you can really do is look at, you know, you can just kind of look at situations for what they are, like who somebody is. Like, you know, Chris Brown has shown us who he is. You know, we got to let him be him. And he's going to grow, but all of us grow, and we grow in different ways. Like, you can't just scrutinize people and be mad at them. And I think the same the same goes for Obama. And the reason it sounds like I'm defending Trump, but I'm just defending Trump's existence. Like, I think the fact that they're speaking out and that they're getting out this bullshit, like, I think it's good. I think it's like they needed to get this out. This is probably the healthiest way. It's better than a war. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to go to that level. Like, they don't want war. I don't think Donald Trump did not plan this far ahead. Like, he didn't think he would get this far. Clearly, like, he's not ready. So now it's just really about waiting and, you know, just somebody's going to beat him. I don't even really think that's a concern. And I think in the meantime, you have to have negative forces to balance the positives. So it's just like, what's gonna emerge? Like, what's gonna come out to fight Donald Trump and ultimately win? And I don't see it yet, but you know, it's coming. Oh, might be real Curtis Snow. You know, they got the same Twitter handle or type of Twitter. You know, real Donald Trump, real Curtis Snow. You know, so he might be the one, but he'll be on the next episode. Everybody, no hype, real shit.
I don't disagree with you about the balance of good and evil and having people like that. My problem is, like, and I know people have probably been saying this for a long time, but it seems like more and more the negative influences and the people who do the least and do the most harm are the ones that get credit. So, for example, like, you don't see very many people arguing for, like, personal responsibility and doing good and those sorts of things anymore. Most everybody, like, has an agenda, and they're going away from, like, just general human decency. And we don't have any advocates for that or people of influence really preaching that sort of thing, you know? And that's where it becomes dangerous, because even though it's not a fast erosion, it's not something that's, like, going to tear us down in one generation, but if we keep letting things slowly deteriorating, even if we don't hit rock bottom, like, there's just a degradation of society that's just generally dangerous, and that's where
that's you being old, man. Like, I feel like society degenerates, like people degenerate. Like, the society that got set up for our parents, like, it doesn't fit us anymore, so it's gonna change. Like, I used to think of stuff like I'm even slow for my generation. Like I said, like, I'm definitely a slow adapter. Like, very slow to Snapchat. I still don't snap anything except eggs. But really, like, I don't really adjust to this new shit that quickly. But the more I look at it, it's normal. Like, Tinder, Snapchat, these are, you know, this is just an upgrade on Facebook and MySpace, which was an upgrade on other ways. And they seem to work better. Like, they may not. I think we also need to return to more natural, you know, more natural ways of life and maybe natural ways of selection. But I feel like this is natural. Like, this is something we created with our brains, and I don't think we can really look at it as bad. Like, it's clearly progress. Like you feel like technology is bad?
I don't think it's bad. But I mean, like you mentioned Tinder. Like, I don't think it's normal that your whole interaction or whether or not you will end up with someone, like 70% of it depends on your interaction with somebody on an app.
Well, that's how somebody might have said depends on your interaction at a bar, or, you know what I'm saying, like out somewhere in a different generation. Like, that's really just the best way for us to, you know, interact. You know, it just saves time. Like, if we got to go out, think about the time and energy of really going out to the bar. Like, we know how to present ourselves, you know, on some shit where we can meet somebody at the bar. We can meet them at the bar and know beforehand, you know what I'm saying? Or, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's progress. It's not bad.
But that's what I'm saying. simpler doesn't equal progress. So like that like having to learn how to go out to a bar and interact with people in their own environment and outside of what you want to be doing and all of those things, that ends up teaching growth. Like you don't end up like it's self-selection. Like you end up just going after people who happen to like your profile or happen to like some of the things that you do or, you know, swipe right, basically. Like, how does that actually make you better? How does that improve what you're doing? That just makes it easier and better.
It's just dating. Like, it's just like Facebook. Like, if somebody liked your photo, it was a different form of mating, but it's like you go out, you just use it as a way to meet somebody. Like, you're not really on. The best part about it is you don't have to do anything extra. Like, it's really, am I attracted to this person? Can they present themselves like a decent human being? You know, and how far away are they? You know what I'm saying? How much energy do we need to put into meeting up somewhere? And it doesn't need to be somewhere sleazy. Like, it don't need to be like, we about to fuck real quick. It could be, one of the things, I was reading some shit on LinkedIn about, like, engagement, like user engagement. And it was like Tinder has a problem because if you're successful on Tinder usually, like if you use it and you get a good match, it doesn't like reproduce itself. Like the best apps are stuff where you use it once and because you had a good experience, you use it again a few more times. Tinder is like you use it once and then most users won't use it for a while. Like it's not like people are just using it to be heathens and like, you know what I'm saying, meeting up in wild places. They're using it the same way it's like texting even. Like I remember taking my mom's phone, like using my mom's cell phone to text girls in middle school, you know, like, or trying to do that until she figured it out. But like, I don't know. I think on her level, it could be like she was thinking like, this is crazy. Like y'all can talk at midnight. You know what I mean? Whereas now, if you met somebody at a bar, like you would get with them a lot quicker than your parents like probably linked up. And even maybe not, like too. Like I think it's too in our nature to just like, naturally select. I don't think it's bad, man. I think it's progress. It's just about people handling it responsibly, which is on all of us, you know. You have any decisions you regretted lately, man? I regret some things I did this weekend, but I'm not gonna talk about them. But are you feeling generally good on your birthday, on your 31st?
Yeah, more or less. Can't complain.
Yeah, man. You should come out to Mizzou. You know, you could probably do some, I don't know what type of coverage you could do, honestly, because our sports isn't that cracking, but you could maybe talk them into letting you send you here for work. But I'll be in New York. I'll be in New York this month. Is that like 3 hours? I'm gonna fly.
Mm. Are you going to see your dad or just going like to go to work?
I'm going for work. There's a little HBO event, you know, that I'm excited to attend, and then I'm trying to go up there and promote the Curtis Project, and then also link up with people just in the city for other things as well. But it's mostly about the Kurt thing right now, man. I haven't shared this could be the last thing, man. I know we've been talking for a minute. I gotta go meet my coworkers for an hour. But the Curtis Project, I'll share the Google Doc with you, but we're releasing a second book. It's a book of essays, just about what's going on in the world and everything. And it's still on the bluff, like we just still, so still, STILL, and then on the bluff, spelled like snow on the bluff. So stillonthebluff.com. There's some stuff up right now, and then it's an interesting project. I want to talk in detail about it with Kurt on the air. You know, we don't need to get into it, but our first, his autobiography was our first project we worked on. It's called I'm a G, and that's available on iTunes and Amazon. But how you feel about Kurt, man? Because you asked about Chris Brown. I mean, Kurt is also a controversial, figure to people. I know my dad was not trying to read that book. Like, I think he read a little bit of it. He's like, yeah, I wasn't feeling it. But,
I mean, he's controversial with me right now because 2 o'clock is not an easy. I mean, that's pretty easy to be awake at 2 o'clock. But aside from the personal controversy, like I found the film interesting because I think And I don't remember too terribly much about it. I was reading up on it just a little bit, so I would be able to come into it prepared today if we did talk. I just I found it interesting because I don't think a lot of people really look at what makes life a certain way for people, and they don't ever pay attention to like the factors that lead to a cycle and a circle. And instead, they just like look at people and look at things and look at life as, you know, this is your choice. You chose to do this. You chose to do that. So I think it's really good in the way it was shot, in the way it was imagined, and I'm actually really anxious to see the second iteration of Snow on the Bluff, because it like I said, maybe I don't know if it can be as good, simply because of how it was done. Like, the one thing I do remember is like it made me think of like the Blair Witch Project or something with found footage, but something way more organic. Yeah. So I don't know that another one can be as good, but I'm interested. I legitimately am interested to see this. Like you asking me to do this, or like us talking notwithstanding, like I really am. But,
all right, I'm gonna share the trailer with you. The trailer's on the website, Still on the Bluff. I'm gonna text that to you, and then I'm gonna share it.
I've seen it. You showed it to me. Remember?
It's updated. You know, it's the final one, and it's on the website with different sample chapters and stuff like that. But
okay.
Send you the info, but anyway, you know, I think that was a successful recording. But let me pull up the directions real quick and make sure the shit was straight. Hold on.
Now, just to let you know, like it's gonna be very difficult to do. Like I'm off today by happenstance, so it's gonna be very difficult to do this again. Like I'll have to go back to noon again the next time. So.
They don't know. They don't know. They don't know.
I swear to God, we were CoupDeLa, man. I CoupDeLa. We ain't CoupDeLa? No, we are CoupDeLa.
International.